Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today we're going to talk about minimum and low-end system requirements for Star Citizen, for both the alpha really and the full game once it's released. So the minimum system requirements as stated on the website: Windows Vista 64, Windows 7 64 with Service Pack 1, or Windows 8 64, so only 64-bit operating systems there. DirectX 11 graphics card with 1GB of video RAM, a quad-core processor, and 8 gigs of actual system RAM. But the actual bare minimums to get the game running are something like an, on the Intel end of the spectrum, Core 2 Duo 2.4 GHz, and on the AMD side of the spectrum, just a Phenom X2. Although a quad core is incredibly highly recommended. Those are the super bare minimums. 8 gigs of RAM will work. Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8 all seem to work, although I would heavily recommend Windows 7 or Windows 8. Windows 10 will also work totally fine. You're also going to need around 100 GB of hard drive space. I mean, you do want a little bit more than that just in case. I mean, you don't know how big the patches are going to be. You don't know whether it's going to have to download the whole patch before then applying it, so you might have to have like 200 gigs of hard drive space. Just keep that in mind. Around 100 GB though is probably what you're going to need for it to be installed. Graphics card wise, the bare minimums in my opinion are an NVidia Geforce 460 GTX, and on the AMD side again of the spectrum, a 5850. They're both very dated cards now, but they will work. They will play the game at its incredible minimum. This is literally a system that would play the game, but you're going to have to really drop down the resolution. You're going to be playing on the lowest settings. For me, it would be unplayable. Though that being said, you can use cleverly edited User.cfgs to get even crappy laptops with no dedicated graphics cards running up to 20 frames per second, although it does really look like more of a retro game rather than something that's super modern. For more details about that and how to get crappy laptops working, please check the description. I'll link to one of the videos we did about it. But for me, I would define minimum spec really as a stable 30 frames on low settings, maybe having to drop down the resolution to 1280 by 720. And with that in mind, I've compiled a list of hardware, kind of the minimum hardware that you would need to get that. So CPU wise, you're talking about something like an Intel i5 2500K. That's a one of the slightly older now socket 1155 processors. And on the AMD flavour, an FX-6300. That's an AM3 plus socket still. These aging CPUs still have some punch to them. The AMD FX is sub $100 to buy new, and if you get a 2500K secondhand, you can pick them up for under $150. You are going to be able to run the game okay even with 8 GB of RAM, although you're not going to get the best load times or the smoothest experience, but it's still playable at the lower end. Hard drive wise, you're only going to need around 100 GB of storage, although I really recommend getting an SSD. It really does speed up your load times dramatically and gives you a much better gaming experience. Just get a small one like a 128 gig one, and just put Star Citizen on that. I really can't recommend that enough. Graphics card wise, really you want to go for nothing less than a GeForce GTX 560 or an AMD R7 250X. Both of these cards are sub $100 and will give you a very playable Star Citizen experience. In the description there is more information on a variety of graphics cards to see if yours is recommended, if you do need to upgrade. Basically in the chart there you're looking for cards with above 4,000 in the score. Have a look there, it's all 3D Mark, Future Mark, benchmark stuff. Check it out in the description. So realistically you could build a minimum spec rig for just over $300. Though if you do have a few funds spare, it is definitely getting an SSD, 16 GB of RAM, and better graphics cards. Although those processors have got so much punch, even though they're getting quite aged now. I hope that gives you a little bit of information on Star Citizen's minimum system requirements. If you would like to have more info on making Star Citizen run faster, or for hardware for it, then please check out our description and our Star Citizen hardware playlist. If there's anything you think that I've missed, or other advice or recommendations, please share them in the comments below. I do try and read them all. As always guys, thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, it really does help me, and I will see you in the verse.